Hey, this is Pamela Schneider. I'm the retail editor for Blue Book Services, and I'm not on vacation anymore.
Looks kind of cold where you are.
Actually, it's not. We've been up and down in temperature, but nothing like what you're experiencing there in the Midwest. And then, of course, on the East Coast, seeing a couple of our friends digging out in the snow, getting stuck in the snow. So not so much, but I figured I got this sweet hat from Envy that I just missed for my trip. It was one of the giveaways that they did for a sweepstakes. We've got a couple of sweepstakes in the produce industry happening right now. So I thought I would throw that on just to keep the hat theme going that we've had going for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, mine's already been confiscated.
Yeah. I bought a sweet one in Bavaria, and I guess I could have saved myself some euro if this one had caught me before I left. But this week in the produce business, we saw a couple of different things come out, and one of them was a column you wrote for the newest edition of Produce Blueprints magazine about what we can expect from the International Fresh Produce Association. Of course, that officially launched on January 1st. Other than seeing some coverage in a news release about, hey, we're getting going, what do you think we're going to see from this new organization?
It's a little bit of a mystery. I don't know any more than anyone else, but the one thing that has always intrigued me from the beginning is when they named both volunteer leaders and professional leaders who was going to be involved. And the volunteer leaders, it always interests me when Bruce Taylor is pulled in to do something big. And he said, in kind of introducing this new thing as the inaugural chairman, that the changes are going to be complex and unprecedented. That builds it up pretty big. And I don't think we've seen any indication of anything complex and unprecedented. So I am excited to see that. My column kind of touched on, they laid out 7 key points or issues that they're going to focus on. And I looked through those 7, and I think there's a huge hierarchy and expectations among members of the 7 that are in there. They're not equal. The 2 that stand out far above to me, and that we'll see evidence of, one is advocacy, because one of the concerns is it's going to be so big that it won't be able to represent all its members, because there will be issues where members will oppose each other. So it will be interesting to see how members get represented from this bigger group. And then the other thing, of course, is increasing demand and sales of fresh produce. Demand creation is the #1 issue, and nutrition and increasing consumption has to be the #1 issue. And all these other pillars that they're built on are kind of, they're important, but you can't tell if it's working. But when we're talking about increasing demand and sales, that is something that's easy to check and keep score on. And if they do that, they will so easily be able to point to that and say, look, we are successful. This is working. This is how you can tell this is working. And if they don't do those things, I think it's going to be a lot harder to say we're working, we're making a difference, and we're really changing the way the produce industry is seen in modern society, both in the US and globally.
To have an engaged membership, to have a dynamic organization, this can't be just dropping the big trade show in the spring. It can't just be a merger to have one fewer association and synergies and efficiencies and whatever other corporate speak you want to come at us with. It has to be, are we actually moving the needle and selling more produce and eating more produce? That's a huge point. When we looked at the 7 pillars, and I'll put them on the screen here, but serving all sectors of the supply chain, providing expertise and solutions in key areas, government advocacy, bringing all sectors together, advocating free trade and global standards, enhancing business connections through events, and number 7, increased demand and sales of fresh produce. That's, for us, when we saw those, we were like, well, that should be #1. And so all of those basically are wrapped up together. So No pressure, but a lot of pressure here. We need to see the needle moving in the right direction, and hopefully a combined and rejuvenated and reinvigorated association will have a lot of new ideas to put forward, and not just a merger and synergies and kind of reducing redundancy, basically.
And it's not just to put it all on PMA and their leadership. This is on all the members, and this is even on people in the media like Blue Book. I mean, if we know we primarily serve the produce industry audience, but our stories get picked up by consumers through search engines, and we can do a good job on increasing consumption and giving the produce industry better light with consumers.
Yeah, we do that. We do that as much as we can. And I actually had a really great conversation with Lori Taylor from the Produce Moms earlier this week about the purpose of what we do here in the ag trade. And it's not just talking about recipes and making produce easy. For us here in the ag trade, we're talking about increasing consumption and thereby increasing sales and profits for fresh produce companies. That's the whole key foundation of this. We're all in this together, but the goal at the end of the day is to sell more produce and get people eating more fruits and vegetables. And so all of these trend pieces and things like that all lead back to just that. And so I had a couple of—
You have a trends piece yourself.
Yeah, it's the annual Is Pamela Gonna Be Right? And you know what, though? I just saw the flashback from a few years ago where I said kale was kind of over. And what do we say nowadays? I mean, is kale really selling that much anymore? Is it really sticking around? I mean, it's still here, right? It hasn't been relegated to the salad bar as a garnish. Like, remember the old Pizza Hut salad bar garnish? It was always kale. But
well, there aren't salad bars anymore, so
right, true. But really, is kale like dominating nutrition anymore? I think we've moved on to kale and moringa leaf and all these other crazy things. But so a little personal win, I guess, but I don't know. For my trends this year, though, I tried to pick trends that are related to real people and the way that real people eat, not tiger nut flour and not, crazy off the wall fruits and vegetables that we're not actually going to see everyday people going toward. And my number one is something that is we've talked about before. And I really think a lot of the innovation and the drive that we're going to see in the produce industry is going to be related to making food easier. Whether that is reminding consumers that dinner does not have to be a recipe. Dinner can be a rotisserie chicken, a bag of salad, and a clamshell of berries. That is easy enough, that is nutritious enough, and that works for everyone. We don't have to have some kind of fancy thing, or we can have a meal kit. Meal kits are back. I feel like there's a lot of reinvigoration in the category of meal kits, whether it is because the logistics have become a little less complicated now that people are getting so much direct delivery nowadays. I feel like those logistics providers have really nailed down routes, nailed down the bits and bobs and widgets and gizmos that have to happen. And it's no longer a gamble to order a meal kit and hope that you don't have a box of leaking meat out of temperature sitting on your porch. We've gone beyond that now. And so they've drilled those things down. And even things like white glove service, I guess what you would call it with grocery delivery. Walmart just announced this week that they're expanding their in-house delivery, where they go in your house and stock your groceries for you, from 6 million households to 30 million households in the US. That's a lot of places where you can get someone to come in your house and put your groceries away for you. It seems like who would actually do that? But you know what?
Someone with a garage fridge.
Oh, I mean,
that's the sweet spot. They're not coming in your house.
Yeah, but
I see this as just the beginning, because
a lot of the times we see innovation. One of the first grocery pickups that really got going on a large scale was Walmart, of course. And I can see this as expanding into the third-party services that partner with retailers like Uber Eats or Shipt or all these other places, that they're going to find a way to get people comfortable with the idea of having a third-party person coming in their house. Because, I mean, shoot, everyone's got cameras on their doorknobs now. You're going to see who comes in and out. And whether we're going to all have porch fridges that have some kind of vending machine like lockout. I mean, I'm all about the vending machines lately, now that I've seen all of the ones that they're using in Europe that we don't have here. I can remember looking at a press release about a pizza bot. That's in part of my number 2 trend was restaurant evolution. I mean, the way that we are interacting with food service has changed and is going to continue to change, whether that's unmanned kitchens, robots doing things for you, vending machines doing things for you, or even changes that we see in our everyday restaurants, where we're going to see smaller in-room dining and more takeout, more delivery, more exterior dining, dining outside. And then, of course, I think, and this was a big one that I'm predicting in a way, but I'm not sure. I think we're going to see more reservations. And it's going to be more commonplace to have to plan ahead to go to a restaurant. That's one of the things that makes America amazing, is that you can pick a restaurant on any corner of any street and just go right in and usually get served. But with all of the labor constraints, the time constraints that we see with restaurants, if you want to go in and have a great restaurant experience, it's going to be more of a planned ahead kind of thing and a reservation kind of thing going forward.
Well, not to mention, people are more skittish right now about hanging out with strangers indoors.
Yeah, I mean, I see a restaurant with limited seating as a feature, not a flaw right now. I don't want to walk into a giant cafeteria like restaurants that are struggling right now, like Luby's and Furs and all those giant like feed bag cafeteria type places that we all used to go when I was in junior high after a basketball game, you know. I don't know anyone who seeks one of those out right now. So the relationship consumers have with restaurants has changed, and it's also driving innovation in restaurants. We're all looking for ways to simplify our menus, make things takeout ready, make things simplify our ingredients with supply chain constrictions. Like you talked with Mark from Produce IQ about this. The cost of things like seafood has gone up tremendously. So a lot of these restaurants are trying to find ways to work around that. And how is that going to affect menus going forward? So I had 5 key things, and you'll have to go to producebluebook.com to read the other ones, including my honorable mention, potato milk.
Yeah.
Would you drink potato milk?
Absolutely. Yeah, I have one kid who doesn't like cow's milk, so we've tried some of the other milks, like I think we have oat milk right now, but I would definitely, and I don't really drink it, I like cow's milk, but we have it, and I would buy potato milk for sure. I also got a hand-painted mug and with all my vegetables. There's another sneak preview of one of your trends.
Oh, mushrooms, yes.
Yeah, that's right.
That's awesome.
My potato milk, and
I need to commission one of these. I kind of feel left out. Oh, actually, you know what? My sister made these for my birthday. Pot holders with avocados on them.
Beautiful.
So yeah, we've got some artists in our family. I'm not the artist, but so easy food, restaurant revolution, mushrooms, and more for the 2022 trends that are coming up. I want to hear what other people think are going to be trending, especially people in the produce industry. So if you have any suggestions, do not hesitate to send me an email, PamelaR@producebluebook.com. I am curious to think what everyone else thinks. But for now, that's it for the Produce Reporter Week in Review. If you are not getting the Produce Reporter newsletter, you need to go to producebluebook.com and sign up. That's an awesome coffee cup. I even like that it's square.
It is square, yes.
That's cool. Jealous.